Today's episode of Chat and Chew is sponsored by Be Positive Productions and Multimedia Studios, LLC. I like to think of imagination as something akin to a superpower. Used in the right context for good, it can help bolster our aspirations and propel us closer to our goals. We visualize the outcome of our accomplishments and work toward attaining said thing. However, when used to propagate untruths, reality can become distorted. We no longer know what's real and what's not. The more often we repeat something to ourselves, the more likely it is to become our truth, and the lines between perception and reality begin to blur. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course, hit the bell to activate notifications that will remind you when we're on. Please be sure to leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you.
I want to invite you to our Father Forever Authentic Fatherhood Summit. This summit is for all fathers, new fathers, struggling fathers, our good fathers who want to be great fathers. We will take a deep dive into the purpose of fatherhood through our roundtable and panel discussion. We want to further empower you to be the best dad you can be. Also, if you know of a new father or a struggling father, invite them. If you know of a great father, invite them as well, so we can glean from their insight during our question and answer sessions. It's going to be a great summit as we share in the brotherhood of fathers. Can't wait to see you there.
Greetings once again to our weekly podcast, Char N Chew podcast. I am super excited about our podcast today, as I am with all of them, but I'm super excited today. But before we really get into that, I'm going to toss it over to Mr. James Jackson, and he's going to give us some housekeeping things we need to take care of. James?
Welcome aboard, friends and family members. We are having our podcast today, and before we get going, I always do this. Facebook users, if you are a Facebook user, please like and share our page, leave a comment. Always want to know what's going on in your head, and if there's a question you have for us, feel free to send it to us. YouTube, all you need to do is just subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I believe that's it. Share that broadcast, and you'll always know when we're on air. And lastly, our friends over on Instagram, just follow us. Just look us up, Fathers Forever, and we'll be there too. So, Glenn, I think I'll toss it back to you.
All right, I got my glove on. I catch it. Today we have a very, very exciting person that I think, her name is Char McKinnon. McKinnon. Yes, sir. We're going to talk about kind of three things today. One is recovery, reentry, and housing. And so we're going to get into some discussion about those three main components that we got going on nationwide, but we're going to talk about it locally.
Sure.
But before we do that, Karen, let me ask you a couple personal questions. Number one is, what is your why? Why do you get up and do the things you do every single day?
My why is because I was one of those people that was ignored, looked over, mistreated, disrespected. And it wasn't that anybody was doing it on purpose. It's that my parents, when they knew better, they did better. And when we see someone is addicted and we feel like they're nothing, that is not true.
Okay.
You know, I just really needed someone to reach out to me and connect with me. So,
And we're gonna unpack some of that in a few minutes.
okay.
Okay. The other question is,
This is my sister.
this is your sister, by the
Long lost sister.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, yes. Tell us your audience about something, even me for that matter, and James, that we'd be surprised to know about you.
Something, I'm a nerd. I've been to college.
I don't believe that, but go ahead.
I am. I'm a nerd. Something that people don't know about me now is that I recently applied at Hazelden Betty Ford master's program and was accepted.
Really? Cool.
Yes, and instead of looking at a sitcom, I would much rather see National Geographic.
Wow.
My mom sent us to charm school because I was a tomboy, and I was a debutante. I don't think people.
Debutante. Man, wow. You know, I used to go,
I didn't
my
like it.
daughter was a debutante ball when she was coming up in high school. It's been a year since I heard about that. Man. So where'd you grow up at?
Well, actually, we were born in Plainfield, New Jersey. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. And then my parents saw the crime rate and having to educate 3 children. They moved us here in 1977, 76. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
My college roommate was from Newark, New Jersey. We met at St. Aug's, and we was roommates for 4 years. We had
Good time.
Yeah, the whole time. Hadn't seen each other. He called me out about a year ago. We hadn't seen each other in 40 years, 45 years.
Wow.
He called me, texted me, found me on Facebook. He called me. We reconnected. I flew to New York for my wife's family reunion. He lives in Staten Island now. I called him. He drove down, and we spent 4 hours together in the restaurant. It was amazing.
Deal.
Michael Carr. Yeah, my brother from another mother.
That's beautiful.
Yes. So, tell us about what you do now. Tell us about, we'll start to unpack. Let's talk about the Oxford House first. Then we're going to start to unpack.
First, I want to say I'm very thankful and grateful to Mr. Paul Malloy, who was the founder of Oxford House in 1975.
Wow.
Because had it not been for me having a safe place to go where I would not be enabled, I used for as long as I did because my family enabled me. They didn't know. But when I was able to let them know this is what I need, they gave it to me. But they still supported me and still loved me. And I have to credit my sister, Jamie, because she was the first one that knew they needed to stop enabling me. So being in an Oxford House around my peers, they would call me out. What the model of Oxford House, some of the mantras is, it's a recovery replication. We have to replicate our houses. Responsibility.
Right.
It taught me to be responsible. It taught me so many different things, Glenn, Dr. Warren. Sorry. It taught me so many different things, but most of all, it taught me the value of loving myself and taking care of myself and good friendships. I'm still friends with the women that I say we grew up in Oxford House together.
Right.
Because Oxford House has a model.
Right.
And the model stays the same. People try to change it, but it won't change.
Yeah.
It stays the same because it's really there for us.
Yeah.
You know.
And
I'm going to pause for 1 second. To our audience, the Oxford House is a transition house.
It is
for
a safe sober.
Yeah, coming out of prison or coming into trying to be sober.
Exactly.
So that model has been around since 1975.
Since 1975. In Oxford House, you are accepted unconditionally in an Oxford House. And now since we have had the medication-assisted recovery, we accept people on medication-assisted recovery. The boundaries are only that you are involved with a service with a doctor so that we know that you're just not out here doing it on your own. And also anyone coming out of prison, this can be your home as well. This is your family, and that's what I love about Oxford House. We have a dedicated team of reentry coordinators. I forgot how many North Carolina has, 5 or 6, maybe more. And they have their finger on the pulse for the prisons. And I appreciate that in them because it can be quite overwhelming. Curtis taught me how in the very beginning, because he was the first one. And I just really feel like people can accept someone who's coming and trying to make their life better. That's the one thing I loved about Fathers Forever. Our children get lost in this whole process.
Yes.
You know, they get lost.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough that I wasn't grabbed, I was snatched. Like, get it together.
Yeah.
And I did, thank God, with his help.
Right.
But you all are Oxford House is nationwide, is that correct?
Absolutely. We are everywhere. Thank God.
So how many do y'all have in Wake County?
In Wake County, we have 63 or 4.
Wow.
And then in the state of North Carolina, we have 310.
Wow. So housing, how important is housing to everybody? I mean, if I got up in the morning and didn't know where I was going to lay my head at the next night, that alone would be stressful, you know. And so people who are going through recovery and not only that, now they got to deal with homelessness.
Right.
They got to be living out in the elements. And so how is it important it is for people who are recovering to have supportive housing?
The reason it's so important, and when I say it is essential because it is one of the basic needs, anyone can go to a shelter and then go out during the day and use. But if you want to truly be safe and recover, an Oxford House affords you that opportunity because you don't get to live there for free. You know, you are given a short period of time to find employment or do whatever you need to do to make sure you can pay your equal share of your expenses. We call it EES. And once you begin to see that there is a methodical rhythm to that, house meeting once a week, there are guidelines in place so that people don't try to do what they want to do, but they try to do what is right. And that's what I love about the model. It is replicated across the nation. We all have the same traditions that we go by, and the traditions help us deal with others. The guidelines help us deal with ourselves and do what's right. So being accepted and connecting is the most important thing.
Right.
I know the answer to this, but is it just for women?
It is not just for women. It is for men and women. They do not live in the same house. Oxford House is where I learned how to become a better parent. After I left Oxford House, I was able to buy a home, and I was able to help my son go to college after raising him. He went to A&T as well.
Okay.
I'll give you
that shout out.
So I believe that, which is, I think my boss kind of knew. She's also my friend, Kathleen Gibson. She knew that there was something to resources that could help you thrive because I found my own resources when I was there. I went back to college. I took parenting classes. I did a little bit of everything so that I could give my son the opportunities that my parents gave us. But I wanted to give him the opportunity with love, acceptance, a present mom, because that is so helpful for our children. If we can't recover and if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not able to help our children.
Yeah. My mentor told me, you can't give what you don't have.
Right.
So if you know, so let's go back. Let's unpack some of that stuff you were talking about earlier. How did you get to the Oxford House? What is the story that got you to Oxford House?
Oh my goodness. I got to Oxford House, and I'm just going to be completely transparent because this is who I am.
That's what we want.
My father's friend, Bruce, had me run his bookstore, and I gave him back the checks. I gave him all of the credit card receipts, but I kept the cash because, of course, I partied with the cash.
Okay.
I was an addict. He didn't know that. My father made him press charges.
Wow.
That's me. Yeah. And when we were in court, instead of the judge giving me a felony, he gave me a misdemeanor and said, I want you to pay that man back every dime. And I want you to go make something of your life. And when I knew I was facing prison if I messed up, that was a defining moment for me.
Right.
And then my son was really, really young. And my mom told me, she says, we're not going to be the ones to raise your son. You're going to have to do it. So I was given some life choices that I had to heed as an adult. I went to treatment. That's when they did treatment for 28 days.
Yeah.
So I went to treatment, and then I went to an Oxford house.
Tell us about your addiction.
Oh, my goodness. My addiction was when I realized that I was addicted to something. It just started off very simply with marijuana, just smoking every so often. And then it ended up with, when I got to A&T State University, I started snorting cocaine. Wow. Yeah. Because it helped me stay up. It helped me study. It helped me to feel like I fit in socially. I am very awkward socially. I prefer not to be around groups of people. I don't do well.
That's not what you show. We see just the opposite side of you. When you say you was a nerd, I was like, I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah.
But you know yourself better than we do.
Yeah. Okay. You should see my grades in math and science. I'm a nerd. Yeah.
Okay.
So I really believe that what I was trying to medicate were feelings of not being accepted, feelings of feeling so different that I just did not fit in. I didn't quite feel the type of love that I needed. I'm a very spiritual being. And if there's something going on with you and you feel some type of way about me, believe you me, I know it.
Wow.
I do know it. And when I say it out loud to others, they think I'm just being, get out of your head. But I know.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
So all that pain, watching the family dynamics that I was living in, it was just very painful as a child for me. So I started medicating with food first. Then I started medicating with reading every book in creation, because I love to read. And it just morphed into something really different when I got to A&T State University. And that is where my addiction took off. I had a pulmonary embolism. I went back to school after being in the hospital a month. Dean called me to his office and said, you cannot stay here. You're on a medication that you can bleed out. Wow. Yeah. So my junior year, I went home, and that's when my addiction just took right straight off. Yeah.
And so how long did you live that life?
I lived the life of addiction for a little under 10 years. And when I tell you, that 10 years took such a toll on me that when I finally saw my dad one day, he was in his car, God rest daddy's soul, because he really tried for me.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got to see me safe and sober. And he had my son in the back seat, and he looked at me and he said, honey, aren't you just tired? And I just looked at him, and it was like, I am, Daddy, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop. Where can I go? And when you ask God for something, or you impart something that you want, exactly. And the door opened, and it kept open.
Be careful what you ask for. You
might better be careful.
Okay, you
better be careful. I thought I could just stop using and raise my son, but it wasn't that simple. I had to learn how to live, life on life's terms. And Oxford House gave.
How did you learn how to do that?
Well, I had several role models. I had to watch people to see I'm not a one that I'm going to believe what you say. I'm going to watch what you do. I'm going to watch how you treat me, because I'm quiet in that way. And I'm good at pretending to be social, but I'm terribly awkward socially.
Okay.
I don't like it. So I watched people. When I came into Narcotics Anonymous, I looked at people who had time. Whatever they told me to do, because back then they didn't ask you to do anything. They told you what to do. Shut up and sit down.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I'm good at following directions if I know it's for my good. That's why Oxford House was good for me. I didn't want to come into that house and do what I wanted to do. Well, I tried to. And they called me out and said, no, it's not going to work.
That way, yeah.
And I knew I did not. If I would have gone back to using any substance in one way or another, I would have died. It was not for me to be out there anymore. I wanted to raise my son. I wanted to be the woman that God intended for me to be.
How old was your son at that point?
He was 1.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not like he knew, but make no mistake, your child knows something is wrong. It doesn't matter how young they are.
Yeah.
Because he was the first grand and first great grand. My parents and grandparents took care of him, but see, he needed me.
Yes, he did.
And when I got out of my dad's car that day, when he said, aren't you tired? Daddy bought me a bag of food, gave me money, And I was in the backseat sitting with Malik. And as soon as that money hit my hand, I was gone. I could hear my child screaming all the way down the street. I kept thinking to myself, oh, Daddy put on the AC and rolled the windows up, But for some reason, I needed to hear that.
Tuned in.
My son needed me, not Grandpa. He needed his mom. So my dad had the opportunity to see me clean for at least 25 years. Wow. He left during COVID. My mom did as well. But they had and my great-grandfather, they all had the opportunity to see me safe, sober, and thriving. And my son. We were all at my son's graduation from A&T State University. He cried. Yeah, because that's where he went. So my dad went there, my son went there, and I went there as well. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was the last person that anyone would think would become addicted, but no one could see that pain. I hide pain very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since I've turned 60, it's like I don't have a filter. I know I'm losing friends because I just say things.
You say things. Right.
Mm-hmm. But I say it in truth. I don't say it to hurt anyone.
So when we talk about addiction, when we talk about, and the work that we do, our house is somewhat different from yours in the structure. Mm-hmm. But we all do the same thing. People are coming home from prison, and a lot of times the crime is connected to the addiction.
The use, exactly.
The use, basically entering, whatever the case may be. So we have to kind of attack both things at the same time, the addiction as well as homelessness, and provide them a place to stay at for 90 days, 120 days, and while we connect them to education and training and resources.
Exactly.
As a 25-year retired social worker, one of my jobs was when I was coming up working was to link my clients to services that they need, whether it was anger management, substance abuse class, Medicaid, Medicare, whatever it was. My job was to link them to their services. And what we try to do at Fathers Forever is to link the guys that are coming to us in their addiction and their recovery. And some of them are not ready, as you know, some of them end up going back. But we found out that the guys some of them are ready to hit the ground running, and they do really well. Mm-hmm. Some of them don't. But housing is such a major issue. What would you like to see change in society, in our community, as it relates to housing? And how would that reduce addiction, homelessness?
I believe since people that are yearning for recovery or desiring recovery or in recovery, I believe since they have been rejected so much, ridiculed, just not accepted, I believe like the NIMBY movement. I can't fault people for what their choice is. The only thing that I can do is keep my side of the street clean. Even though someone is opposed to an Oxford House being in their neighborhood, we can be the best neighbors you've ever had. I believe, and it's because of what I've seen, is that once you get a taste of watching people work together, that can be really contagious. Yes. Here's a group of people, some came out of prison, some used to shoot heroin or whatever, whatever your story is. If you can watch a house come together and do something for good because we contribute to the community, right. We vote, right. We go back to college, right. We raise our kids, and sometimes I know I raise other people's kids in my home. I have a stepdaughter and I love her to pieces. Yeah. So I just believe if we're in your neighborhood, get to know us first. Yeah.
For our audience, the word newbie is an acronym. Newbie is an acronym for not in my backyard.
Right.
Another way, we kind of ran into that a couple years ago, where it means, I love what you're doing. I love that you're helping people in recovery. Just don't do it in my backyard.
Not here.
Don't do it here. Yeah. Do it over across the street. Well, not across the street. Do it across town, but don't do it in the neighborhood. And so as we tried to grow, and we did, but we ended up having to fight the right to be in the neighborhood because we had a bunch of neighbors who stood up and said, they questioned our existence. And it took us a year to get past that and spend a lot of money on lawyer fees to get past that. We did get there, thank God. But
Right.
but that is people don't understand, and they fear sometimes what they don't understand.
There's so many stigmas, and if, like, I appreciate every position that we have with Oxford House, because our forward-thinking leader now, she has different positions that do different things, and they all work together. Everything always works together for the good of those who love God and fully believe this.
Yes.
Our outreach coordinators, like, I know you know Len Williams.
Yes.
She and they all work tirelessly. Keith Gibson, they work so hard to try to educate people. Trainings, making sure that your side of the street is clean and that you're doing what you're supposed to do when somebody is watching. And it may be someone that's watching that could say, I'm going to use my powers and influence to get them out of here. But see, what I do know is that if you watch us for a minute, you can't stop what is ordained to be.
Right.
We're here to help people.
Right.
And sometimes we might be helping your child.
Right. It could be your grand. Yeah. In the neighborhood that we're in now, we make sure our houses are clean. We make sure that there's no debris.
Right.
That the guys are respectful. We make sure we got private fences up to some of them, that the guys can have their space and our neighbors can have their space. So that's so I know we only got a few more minutes before we got to get out of here. Wow, it's already 30 minutes. It's already just that fast. Like 1:15. So I want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And let's talk about harm reduction. You know about that more so than I do, and what it feels like when guys are getting out, people getting out of prison, are living in the communities, and they're ODing. What is harm reduction, and how can we increase that?
Well, first, we can open our minds, and second, we can educate ourselves.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything about, overdosing. I didn't know anything about medication-assisted recovery. I didn't know anything about that. Now we have an education coordinator, and he goes around the state educating people how to use Narcan. I know we have a good relationship with the Harm Reduction Coalition, and people might think, why would they pass out needles and why would they give out condoms and why? It's all about safety, and that lets the people, that's an opportunity to plant a seed.
Right.
Why wouldn't we want to plant a seed to someone who is destitute, who doesn't know? Like me, I didn't know about recovery. If it had not been for this man named Alan Wolf, who was supposed to be my probation officer, I think I saw him a total of 2 times. The first time I saw him, he says, I'm not going to test you right now because you're high. The next time he said, I got somewhere where I want you to go. And that's when I went to treatment. But if we have harm reduction, people learning, this is what I need to do to not use. Because some people, if you give them an opportunity to use without an opportunity to stop that, what is it called, withdrawals?
Yeah.
They stay and die because they don't want to do the withdrawals. Yeah. Harm reduction affords them that opportunity. Does it work the first time? No. They have to tweak it. Oxford House is a really good place because when your peers say, I think your dose is too high. Well, first of all, we're not doctors.
Right.
Second of all, we try to think we are, but we're not.
That's right.
And the next thing that we have to get them to do is go to your provider. Tell them what's going on. We're going to give you X amount of time to do this because we want everybody here to stay safe and sober and have some semblance of happiness,
Yeah. With the epidemic of fentanyl.
Right.
I mean, people are dying. I mean, it's
right.
And they're finding these large quantities of fentanyl in the streets that now it's been released to the community, and people are dying left and right. And so harm reduction to the guys who are in these atmosphere, in these houses where drug use is there, to teach them first aid, or to teach them CPR.
Teach them something other than not deal with their problems and go use.
Right.
Some people want to stay sober. They just don't know how. They just don't know how. And the ones that I love the most and maybe I'm biased, are the ones that have returned to you several times and they just are not getting it, but they make it back.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's time to love them.
Yeah.
It's time to show them what needs to happen. That's why Narcan, put it in the school, put it everywhere.
Put it everywhere, yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Put it in the guy's hands that's doing the drug. I know when it first came out about sharing, giving needles away, people pushed back because they say giving needles to these people are just like encouraging in them to use more.
They don't understand.
They didn't understand that, number one, the statistics said the number didn't go up because they gave needles. But what went down was now the issue that sharing needles caused, like HIV, went down.
Right.
The hepatitis B went down because now they don't have to share needles. They can go ask for a needle.
Hepatitis C is the
Hepatitis
that's
C.
for the liver.
Yes,
Right.
yes. And which was passed down by addicts sharing needles.
Recovering addicts.
Yes.
It's all about recovering. Will I be recovered and arrive? No. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with working on myself for the rest of my life. I'm okay with that because what I know is gradually when you have a purpose and you find your purpose
Right.
and you're in it. I have walked in my purpose for the last 27 years. I got clean in 1996 in July after getting out of my dad's car and listening to my son scream because I knew he wanted me. I have a proclivity for women who have children and who don't know what in the world they're doing because that was me. Wow. So I want to help. I think what this country needs, they need more supportive housing for women that are pregnant and using, women that are have children and they have multiple children but nowhere to live for them all to be together. Children will grow up like their parents did if they don't have that nurturing environment.
Right.
And I think we need to do that. We need more prevention in the schools. People who have been on the street using need to talk to these kids.
Yes. Right.
How important is it for someone in recovery or new to recovery to have a sponsor?
Well, for me, I don't think I would still be sober if I didn't have a sponsor.
Okay.
I have a sponsor. I have a home group. I still go to meetings. I still work steps. I talk to my sponsor 2 or 3 times a week because let's face it, I'm still crazy. I am. If I try to go on Karen's thinking and not get some guidance, I have mentors. I have a sponsor because I need help all the time. And if anybody is honest with themselves, we all need help all the time. But if I go on this thinking, because this little committee up here can be crazy, I have to pull the reins back. Yeah, it's super important, James.
Yeah. So I know we got to wrap this up, but one final thing is I believe that a community, if we really start coming together and focus on the needs of people, being human, and fixing policies that make sense to help people. I mean, I know politics play a big part of that, but
It does.
how can we get, as we're the one that's on the ground, how can we use our vote, use our influence to begin to affect policies that's going to really help people get on with the rest of their life?
First of all, we all need to vote. We all need to understand the importance of voting and the privilege that we have to be able to vote. We need to be down at the legislative buildings. We need to advocate for specific things. We need to support places like Fathers Forever, One Chance. What is it?
Second chance.
Second chance.
Dennis Caddy or CSI.
Yes, we need to support those people, but moreover, we need to talk about them to the people that matter. Every time we have a staff training, we go to the Hill. We go to Capitol Hill, and we talk to our senators and whoever else is up there that will listen.
Yeah.
And it takes a bravery to talk about something that you're very ashamed of. Right. Like, I'm happy about it now. It's like, I'm glad to know who I am and whose I am.
Right.
Today.
So I keep saying we're going to close. This is the last thing. But our work that we deal with a lot of fathers. And, and one of the guys said, if fatherlessness, the pandemic, we all know what the pandemic did. But fatherlessness could be compared to a pandemic if you look at the absence of fathers. It's widespread. But how do we fix the pandemic? We did prevention.
Right.
We did education.
Right.
And we did a vaccine.
Right.
But then we did the
To
prevention.
lessen the chances.
Yeah.
That would be prevention.
Exactly. Then we did the prevention with the mask on, and we did the 6 feet apart, the distance. But we also began to do the tracking because we become intentional
Right.
at how to deal with the pandemic. And it's pretty much, it's still around a little bit, but it's kind of gone now because we as a community, we as a society, we as the world
Right.
decided we need to fix this problem.
Right.
And we became intentional and we got it solved. If we put that same effort
Intention. Right.
into producing, people who are struggling,
Yes.
fatherlessness,
Yes.
and people with addiction, if we put that intervention, we do a lot of, society does a lot of cleanup, the aftermath of fatherlessness.
Yeah, but we don't.
We're doing, but why don't we put some of that resource
Right.
in a prevention?
Right.
It's like having a glass of water on the table and it falls over, and we got our mop and we clean it
Right.
up.
Why didn't we just move it far away?
Why would you stand the glass up?
Right.
Yeah. And we haven't done that. I know with that I'll close because I could preach until Jesus come back about it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Char, for coming and being a part of this.
Thank you.
We're gonna be doing some more of this. We're definitely gonna bring you back.
Oh, okay.
And we love talking about recovery. We love talking about housing.
Get excited.
Yeah, I know. That's really good. I love your story. I learned so much about people. We see you on a regular basis, but I didn't know that personal story about that. So, Jane, I'll let you say the final words.
Well, no, I would like for Karen to have the final word.
Oh,
Tell people how to get in touch with Oxford House.
Yes.
Okay. If you know someone that wants to be in recovery and they are coming from treatment or want to go to treatment, our vacancy website, which is a nationwide vacancy website, is oxfordvacancies.com. If you want to learn about us, we are on our website, oxfordhouse.org, which will give you statistics, information, what we spent the money on, because they keep a tight rein on the money. Everybody needs to know where every penny is so that we can be held accountable so that our side of the street is clean. But you can if you look up Oxford House, it'll take you to a series of names, and it'll also take you to some houses. If you call a house and you don't get an answer, leave a message so that they can call you back.
Great.
Yes.
Sounds great. That'll be easy too. Nothing to do to get in touch.
The hard part is wanting to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making that.
Afraid to do what's
Right.
different,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So to our audience, once again, thank you for being a part of our podcast. And we look forward to seeing you again. Until we meet again, take care. Here's 3 ways you can support our Dads at a Distance initiative. Give a copy to a family member, our friend. Donate monthly, a book monthly, 5 books monthly, how many books you want to do monthly donation. Reverse book signing, your church, your business. You can make a donation go to our website at www.afatherforever.com and go to our PayPal at Fathers Forever. Our Cash App is $Fathers Forever. Make your donation today. Please include in the note section, include DAAD. Again, include in the note section DAAD.
If you or someone you know would like to be a part of the show, please visit our website at www.afatherforever.com or call us at 919-779-9905. The Chat and Chew podcast streams Thursdays at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. To schedule a reverse book signing or to find out more information about how you can become a part of the programs you heard us mention today, please be sure to stop by our website as well.
Hello, everyone. This is Glenn Warren, founder and executive director of Fathers Forever. I want to share an alarming reality with you. 627,000 fathers are incarcerated that have kids under 18. Now, there are 56,000 moms incarcerated who have kids under 18. The reality is there are so many more fathers incarcerated than moms. This is why I Am a Father Forever book exists. Now, I need your help. I am inviting you to help us get this book into as many fathers incarcerated as possible. Here's how it works. For your donation of $22, we will provide a book to an incarcerated father. Thank you in advance for helping Fathers Forever heal fathers and save families. I want to invite you to our Fathers Forever Authentic Fatherhood Summit. This summit is for all fathers, new fathers, struggling fathers, our good fathers who want to be great fathers. We will take a deep dive into the purpose of fatherhood through our roundtable and panel discussion. We want to further empower you to be the best dad you can be. Also, if you know of a new father, our struggling father, invite them. If you know of a great father, invite them as well, so we can glean from their insight during our question and answer sessions. It's going to be a great summit as we share in the brotherhood of fathers. Can't wait to see you there.